Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Almassian. I'm very excited today to host Miró Wolsfeld. He's a German video blogger for Deutschland Kurier. And according to the mainstream media, because I did some research about him, although I know him from Twitter for quite some time, he is a dangerous German person that I shouldn't contact. That's why I thought we have to communicate with each other because I'm also a dangerous person according to the German mainstream media. So let's collaborate and talk a little bit about what's going on in Germany, because Germany, in my opinion, is a very important country. It's a very strong industrial country that is now being destroyed by, in my opinion, green ideologues. And this is, in my opinion, it's an intentional policy. But I wanted to speak with Miro because he is well informed about the recent situation in Germany. But before that, Miro, if the people want to follow your work in Germany, because the fourth I have followers, for example, the most watched followers on my channel in the fourth place are from Germany. So those who want to follow you, where they can find your work.
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. And yeah, I'm mainly active on X, so formerly Twitter, and alternatively, I'm on Telegram. I had two YouTube channels, but they were suspended without a reason. So I had on the one
Surprise.
channel, yeah, on the one channel I had over 50,000 subscribers or followers.
Wow.
And on the other one it was, I think, 30,000, so quite a lot, and they were both deleted without a reason, and I didn't have the money to fight against Google legally. So yeah, I went on Telegram and built a channel there with right now 42,000 followers, and since Elon took over Twitter, or X now, I'm mainly focused on X, and yeah.
Guys, I already put his X and or Twitter account in the description below. If you're interested, please follow, because in my opinion, whether you agree with Miro or not, it's very important to listen to his point of view, because you will always find mutual ground with whoever you disagree with. And in my opinion, Miro is bringing a perspective from Germany that is worth listening. So just like if we are like we're listening to the liberal, so-called liberal point of view every day. If you open the TV, if you open the social media, they are everywhere, and they are occupying, in my opinion, major media outlets, and they have infiltrated everywhere. So in my opinion, it's also important to listen to the other side of the story, and at the end of the day, you can make up your mind. But if we want to discuss a little bit about what's happening in Germany, yesterday on Tuesday, tens of thousands of Germans, as I saw in Berlin, demonstrated and in celebration of the German Unity Day, which is a commemoration of the German reunification in the 1990. With the current political, let's say, atmosphere in Germany, and there is a big polarization, right, between the different political parties. How do you evaluate the unity of the country, the unity of the people? Do you think that the people are united today in 2023, or there are huge differences between the people, let's say mental division among them?
Yeah, they are quite divided. This is also what you could see yesterday on the Day of Unity. It's completely absurd because people protested for unity, and they protested against our own government because our government doesn't listen at all what the people wants, and those people went on the streets by the thousands and protested against our own government, and our government posted a photo with our chancellor and so on, and here in this video you can see German flags waving all over the place, and the photo with our politicians, on this photo there was not even one German flag. And now
Mhm.
I think this clearly shows who is interested in the well-being of our country. And yeah, it is really divided. We have various political parties, but the system went in a two-party system, as one could see in the United States or so, because you have the opposition, the AfD, and you have all the other parties, and they all get together to fight the AfD, and you have our own intelligence and everything fighting our own opposition party, and it's quite
They're
absurd
trying to
because
ban it, right? They're trying to
yeah,
ban
yeah,
the
they try
AfD.
to ban it, and they survey the politicians and so on. So this is what you think you could hear from other states, but not from Germany. Germany
Hmm.
used to be a country with free speech, with yeah, democratic values, but for now it's completely divided.
I will just say two things here, Miro, because since you mentioned the flag, in my
Mm.
opinion, the flag it represents the national identity of any country, and this has nothing to do with ethnic nationalism, right? Every country has its own flag. But in Berlin, for example, where I live, I see more Ukrainian flags and more LGBTQ flags than German flags. The other day, there was an article in a German press here in Wedding. Actually, it's a Turkish neighborhood mostly. One of the German men, he hung the German flag in his balcony, and he received the letter in his we said the briefkasten, right, in his mailbox, telling him that he has to remove it because the days of the 40s are over. This was basically the letter. But you can see the Turkish flags are everywhere, but nobody tells anything. When Erdogan won the elections, the major roads in Berlin were all blocked, and the people
Yeah.
were, even like, I myself documented so many cases of people showing slogans of fascist organizations in Turkey itself, but those are not discussed in the mainstream media. But all of a sudden, everybody, like, I don't want to say everybody, but according to the press, if you carry a German flag, then you should be a far right person, which is very ridiculous. They're trying, in my opinion, to hit the national identity of not only in Germany, in general. Like, they want to deprive the people from their national identity, and they want to spread these sub identities, right? Like, what kind of times are we living in when you want to identify yourself as a straight or as a cis person, or a gay person, or a bisexual person, or like, what kind of time we live in, that you have to identify yourself with your sexual orientation and not with your country? This is where I find a little bit ridiculous. And when I speak about it, I'm a migrant, right? And you know me, I come from Syria, and people, like, they look at me in shock. Some Germans who know that I speak right, but they're afraid to agree with me in public, and the others are considering me this opinion as being far right. But one of the slogans in this demo yesterday in Berlin was "Wir holen uns unser Deutschland zurück," which means in English, "We are taking back our Germany." Uh, who are they referring here to? Are they referring to the foreign interference in the domestic affairs of Germany? Are they referring to the migration crisis, that they think that there is a flood of refugees and migration into this country, that they're no more owning this country? I mean, the Germans, or both, probably.
I think it refers to various things where people think that the politicians don't listen to their people anymore. So we have our energy crisis, which is self-made because of our parties deciding to just live from renewable energies and to shut down nuclear power plants and so on. Um, we have the migration crisis. We have the war in Ukraine, where people don't want to send more weapons to Ukraine, but our government does so. There are so many problems in this country, but our politicians, they don't listen at all what we want. We have protests since years, so starting from 2014, when people went on the streets against the war in Ukraine. And after that, they protested against the migration crisis, which was also self-made by our conservative party, with Angela Merkel inviting millions of migrants to Germany without back-checking them, and went on with the COVID policies, where our freedoms were completely taken away. And yeah, there were many issues where people have the kind of thinking that our government, they try to enforce a policy on their own people who pay their salaries and so on, um,
Yes.
and but the people don't want this policy, and I think they want to take back the country from these politicians. They want politicians who listen to them because they represent the people normally, and they should listen what we want, and they should not enforce some gender ideology or some green ideology on us if the majority doesn't want it. And the majority polls show that the majority is against this green ideology. The majority doesn't want the mass migration. The majority doesn't want to be taken away more freedoms, and we want free speech and so on. But yeah, it's getting more and more totalitarian in this country. So people want normal standards and they want to take it back. And yeah, I think this is the reason why the people went on the streets with this slogan.
The other day, one of the journalists, I believe, from the mainstream press, she was quoting an AfD politician from a very famous TV channel, and she said Germany is a democracy. And I just, out of interest, I was going through the comments, and I saw multiple examples of people with, of course, not their real names, because apparently they had to delete their Twitter accounts, and they were saying that they were fined by court 3,000 euros, or they should go 6 months to jail for saying something on Twitter. And this is becoming a normal occurrence. And for example, I myself, I'm not a German, but I live here. And to be honest with you, because I am paying for 2 jobs, 2 taxes for the government, and my taxes are going to Ukraine. So I just feel like I'm entitled, at least just a little bit, with very diplomatic terms, to say no, I don't want my tax money to go to Ukraine, right? And despite that, I'm really worried. I open every day my mailing box, and I expect like a letter that I would be fined for saying something on Twitter or for a comment I made on my YouTube channel. So I'm doing so much self-censoring, which is the worst type of censorship, in order to not to be fined or not to be criminalized for saying something online. And this is really becoming really ironic, because the people who say we're championing democracy, human rights, freedom of speech, they're the ones suppressing this speech, right? And
Yeah.
therefore, I respect the people who are honest. For example, I say if I have a choice between Trump and Biden, I respect Trump, because Trump says what he thinks and what he's going to do, and he's not manipulating you. He's not putting a mask on his face and then we say in Arabic, like he's a wolf but wearing a sheep clothing. I don't like that. I like people to be direct with me, and I've been living in Germany for 8 years, and I become a little bit Germanized. I'm like really straightforward with the people of what I feel and what I think about this case. But I assume you support the AfD. I've seen some tweets of you on Twitter. And speaking about the migration crisis, how do you like for this crisis to be resolved? Look, I myself, I'm a migrant. I speak German. I'm married to a German. I pay my taxes. Do you want me back to my country? Do you want me to be deported? What kind of people you want to deport? Because according to the German government, I'm the one who should be deported, and the rest, who we have around 50 to 60% of Syrians who are still on a job center since 2015. Those people can stay in Germany.
Yeah, I think you should be directly deported. Yeah.
Parachuted.
Yeah, it's really really mad what's going on with the migration policy, because we take in so many migrants and they aren't backtracked at all, and the crime rate exploded here in Germany since 2015. We have gang rapes on a daily basis. Statistically, we have stabbings and fights on the streets. There was what was it, an Eritrean festival on the streets where they clashed, and this is taking place regularly. And I think it is quite clear from the law what should be made get along with this migration situation. If you go through various countries just to come to Germany to profit from social care, I think
Yeah.
this shouldn't be the reason. There I think it is okay and completely right to help people in need if they come from war countries, and to help asylum seekers. But the term has been expanded, so no one could really define what is an asylum seeker anymore. You have to clearly define it, and to I think we took millions of people in this country who shouldn't be here, who came through these asylum ways to Germany. And those people who just came for economic reasons, and also especially those people who became criminal in this country, they should be deported back to their home countries. And I'm not against helping real refugees, but this is a fringe minority from who is coming in our country, and all
Mhm.
the other ones, I think they should go. And if they want to come for economic reasons, they can take the legal way, the normal way, with migration, as in every other country, but not through asylum and with I don't know, NGOs or so, helping them to come into our country just to live from our taxpayer money. And also in some cases, and these cases are not a small minority who become criminal after that.
Mhm. Actually, I just want to mention a few things here about the criminals, right? I know the Syrian community very well. I think the vast majority of the Syrians are peaceful.
Yeah,
But if we consider like in any community, if you have, let's say, 3% or 5% of psychopaths, like in any society, and then if you receive 1 million people, at least 50,000 of them are going to be psychopaths, right? They're going to be criminals. But because of the case of Syria, there was a war in the country, and there were so many people radicalized after the war. And this has happened through religious indoctrination, ideological indoctrination by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, by Erdogan's Turkey. There were tens of media outlets and imams. They were preaching day and night hatred, right? And lots of people bought into this hatred that they have to somehow fight against the Syrian government and establish an Islamic state. And some of these people also came to Germany, right? And I was in 3 different refugee camps in 2000, between 2015 and 2016, in Stuttgart, in Karlsruhe, and in Ludwigsburg. And I've seen examples of these people. So when I spoke against them, like I spoke against these radicals specifically, and I've been attacked by the German mainstream press. I've been called names. I've been framed as a radical right winger, etc., etc. Where the fact is, I want to protect the Syrian community here in Germany and the German community, right? When you isolate these people, when you filter them, and when you do background check, you're bringing peace and stability, unless your goal is not to have a stability in this country. And this is very crazy because there are people here in Germany now, and they were fighters in Syria. They carried arms. Those are dangerous people. And I myself, because of this mainstream press attack by the German press, I've been attacked physically many times in Berlin. People tried to hit me from the back. People tried to stab me. People tried to attack me in the streets. So I don't feel safe at lots of times because of this. So if I'm, as a Syrian, I'm speaking about this fringe minority who are really dangerous, why can't the Germans also speak? This is why my logic is, if people want to migrate to Germany, for example, as you said, through legal paths, that should be, of course, available. But it's easier. People need to understand these cases, because I follow this case very closely. It's easier to come to Germany illegally than to come through the legal channels. If you
yeah,
want to get a visa to Germany, my friends, they have been applying for a German visa to come and study here. They finished their C1 TELC certificate. They have all the requirements to come and study master degree or continue their PhD. And their visa requests were rejected. So they had to pay people money, smugglers, and pay 10,000 euro, 5,000 euro, 8,000 euro to come to Germany. So it's like there are powers here. They are encouraging illegal migration instead of legal migration, right? And
Just
now,
throw your passport away and come to Germany.
yeah, and Elon Musk jumped on this, and I know you like Elon, and he said there was this video that German NGOs are trying to smuggle people into Italy, and those are German NGOs funded by the German taxpayer money. And he said, "Is the German public aware of this?" And then the Foreign Ministry office on Twitter they reply and they say, "Yes, it is called." Saving lives, right? And I do believe if these people were in danger and they were drowning, they should be saved and they should be taken to safety, right? But they were being taken to Italy, and there were some maps showing that they were closer to the Libyan shores than to the Italian shores, but they were bringing them there, right? Uh, do you think the Elon Musk's jumping into this case will help the AFD? Because the German mainstream press, they're accusing him of being a pro AFD now.
They made it that way. So he corrected this afterwards in another post where he said he didn't really knew the AFD at all. So he just commented on the situation with the NGO ships. And they made it an AFD topic. So our media made it an AFD topic. And this helped quite a lot because I think, yeah, having the richest man in the world talking about this situation from which people were defamed by our own media and by our own state. They have been pursued also legally. In 2017, I posted a video from this under this what you showed us. There were identitarian activists who rented a boat and went to the Libyan coast to spot those NGO ships and to see what they were doing. Because in 2017, everyone thought they were just there to help those people. And so it's a long case. Since 2017, people try to yeah, spread awareness on what's going on there at the coast, and they share these maps where you can clearly see that these ships are traveling from Europe to the coast in Africa and going up and down horizontally just to collect some people and go back to Italy. If they really want to help those people, they should just take them, get them to the Libyan coast, for example, and the Libya also said that it is okay, and they want if they want to help, they can do it that way. But what they don't want is if they take these people and travel to Italy, because this creates a pull factor is how we say it in Germany. So the people see, in Africa, they know that these NGO ships are in the Libyan waters or near the coast, and they take their own ships, go out, and hope that some NGO ship will take them. They are some of them also they travel the long way to Europe, but yeah, it's obvious that they hope that these NGO ships will take them, because it's also better for them than with their own small ships
Yeah.
or boats. Yeah, I think this is a huge problem that people try to spread awareness since 2017, but our own government fights those people. The identitarian movement is not forbidden here in Germany, but yeah, there has been some smear campaigns against the identitarian movement. They are called right-wing extremists. Also, although they are activists from all over Europe who were also on that ship, which spotted those NGO ships. So yeah, it's quite a long way to criticize the migration policy, and it's quite a hard way for us here in Germany, because we don't have free speech. There's intelligence fighting everyone who criticizes this. We have parties fighting people who criticize this mass migration, and you get so many legal problems if you talk openly about on what's going on here. Some things are now changing because the AfD is getting stronger and stronger, and you cannot hide the truth anymore. So the other parties, even the Green Party, said that you have to regulate migration right now. I think also because of this explosion of the crime rate and as I said, stabbings are taking place all over the time, and gang rapes and so on. And the people are fed up with it. And you see it in the polls that all the other parties, they lose. The only parties that gain in these polls are the conservatives, so CDU and the AfD. But it was the CDU who said that millions of migrants can come to Germany. It was the CDU who said that we don't need the nuclear power plants, and that you don't need that we go all in with renewable energies and so on. So people don't trust the CDU anymore, and this is also a reason why the AfD got so strong in the recent polls.
Yeah. Does it bother you that the fact that the people who support the AfD and the AfD people themselves are called far right, fascists, neo Nazis, whereas Canada's progressives hosted a literal Nazi from the 14th Division of the SS the other day in the parliament, and many Western governments are sending weapons to Ukraine where actual neo-Nazi groups, they identify themselves as Nazi groups. They receive this weaponry because, for example, the Azov battalion, they are incorporated into the defense ministry of the Ukrainian armed forces. They fight under the banner of the Ukrainian government. So does it really, do you see that there is a huge hypocrisy here, or we have to help Ukraine according to the narrative of the German government and the German press?
Yeah, the majority, as I said, is against the weapon delivery. They want the diplomatic way, but if you talk about it openly, you are labeled as as pro Putin, as pro Russia, and so on. But the majority, they just don't want more. The escalation of this war. They just want the diplomatic solution. And but as you said, they have been labeled everything. So conspiracy is a theorist,
Yes.
or right-wing extremists, or I don't know, everything. And this is also taking place since years. So people don't really listen to this anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And this is also a reason why the AfD got so strong, because people don't care what they are labeled right now. They just want a safe country. They don't want an escalation of this war next to us. It is not something special what our own people want. They want a normal life with normal standards, with our own government sticking to our own policy and our own law, but and free speech. Our country was famous for free speech, but it has become the complete opposite. It has become so totalitarian, and I think people go on the streets since years, and they fight for their freedoms and so on, and they don't really care anymore what they are labeled from various newspapers, from various institutions. We have 1 billion in taxpayer money fighting people who are called right-wingers. So this money, taxpayer money, goes to various institutions, to organizations, and so on. You don't really know where it is all going. and we have state-funded media, which every German citizen has to pay for, which is also producing one documentary against right-wingers after another, and it also doesn't work anymore. People laugh about it, and they don't care if they smear us as Nazis, as right wing extremists. They also don't differentiate between right wingers and right wing extremists or conservatives also, and they also label themselves these terms. So if you just step 1 inch too far away from radical leftist ideology, you could be labeled directly as a Nazi, as a right winger, and so on. You see it all over the time. And I think this doesn't work. And I think this is what you see right now also on X. People get more. They talk more openly about all these issues, and they don't hide their opinion anymore. Although our own government still wants to suppress free speech.
Yeah, that's why, in my opinion, the ideologues they want to control the speech because they can't change the definitions. Like during the pandemic, they changed the definition of an anti-vaxxer. They changed
Yeah.
lots of definitions. For example, what is a radical right wing? What is a far right? For example, in Ukraine, where a group considers itself far right and a neo-Nazi, they whitewash these groups. They don't call them by their names. But then you have here, if you are one step on the right side of the green ideologues, then you are a radical right wing. This has become something that very ridiculous. And as you mentioned, people do not buy into these labels anymore. In the past few years, probably people were a little bit afraid. But at the moment, I can assure you, Miro, I know lots of people here who were born and raised here. And I know newcomers, from the migrants, from the people who have asylum here. They're people in the 90s, I can assure you, I know them personally, they were burning the cars of the rich because they're so radical left, and they were part of the Antifa scene, etc., etc. Today they are voting AFD. I know these people. I know these people personally. I know people who came from Syria and they received an asylum, and now they have a German passport and they voted for AFD. So people aren't buying anymore into this narrative that it's black and white. Because, in my opinion, of course, the AFD has a perspective and good perspective about some things, and then they have some things that I disagree with them. I consider them untrue when they speak certain things. So I have to be able to judge and criticize this and that. But I'm unable to criticize the left because their tactic is, and when I say the left, they're not left, right? They're the neoliberals, let's say. Their tactic is very, very, in my opinion, ridiculous because they don't say that you're wrong. They say you're a bad person if you don't agree with me.
Yeah.
If you don't let this is really horrible because they are completely destroying free speech, and by doing so, like, they're coming after your kid. In my conviction, in my belief, in my faith, my children is my children. It's not the government's children, it's not the school's children, and it's not this teacher's children who just realized that she has to be a radical feminist and painted her hair, dyed her hair blue, and her the and she's indoctrinating these kids. And I have family here in Germany, and I have friends who have kids, and they're going to kindergarten, and they're coming back home. Their parents are horrified and shocked of what they are learning at school at age 3, 4, 5 years old. They're
Yeah.
being taught not to eat meat and become vegans, and they're being taught the meaning of the LGBT flag. And I'm a very progressive person on this. I am all for everyone to have his her own sexuality
Mm.
in the way that we knew since 10 years. If you're a gay, if you're a lesbian, if you're bisexual, it's not my business what you drew in your private times, right? Or what you drew in your bed. I'm all for these rights. But do not come to the schools, to the kindergartens, and choke the children with your ideology, because what you're doing is not teaching, it's indoctrination. Children go to school to learn something. We learned history, we learned geography, we learned science at school. When I was 5, 6 years old, I was able to map lots of countries, because we learned at school in Syria. Now people are speaking about toxic masculinity. They're talking about feminism. They're talking about how oppressed and patriarchy is. They're completely brainwashing the children, and this will harm the Western society and Western civilization. People need to understand all civilizations are important, and we in the Middle East, we learned from Western civilization, just like few centuries ago Europe learned from the Middle Eastern and African civilization. But when you destroy this civilization now through these ideologies, the world will also suffer, because we are all connected with each other. And that's why when I speak about it, because I consider also Western civilization as an integral part of the global humanity, right? Now, if I want to end up this very, I would say, a brilliant conversation with you, my friend, um, for an argument's sake, if the AFD scores the highest point in 2025 elections, uh, will any party participate in the coalition, or they will isolate the AFD and then they try to form another coalition by themselves?
I think this won't work. This is what they say right now, but you see right now that it also doesn't work for now. So they, for example, if a local government here in Germany, they want to decide on streets or something really practical, they have to cooperate with the AfD, and this is taking place for right now. So if the AfD is getting more and more popular, they don't have another or choice to do so. And what you can see for now, they changed their own policy to be more AfD. So
Yeah, the Greens are talking the same talking points of the
yes,
AFD
yes.
2 years ago.
If the Greens are against migration right now, some huge steps have been made. So I think this won't work. The conservatives from the CDU, they also are getting more and more conservative. They try to hide their past with 16 years of Angela Merkel, but they go in to the right direction. They are still talking too much liberal policies, and you cannot really trust them, but they go into the right direction. And I think it's because of the pressure of the AfD. They see their own people going to the AfD. There are former CDU politicians who are in the AfD. You have voters from CDU going to AfD. But there's also another party, the new party, it is called Coming, and they want also to address those people from the middle, because all of the other parties, they went far left. In general, the people, they didn't change their points of view. They were all that way before. They were for legal migration. They were for they want to be able to pay for their everyday life, and not just for energy prices or rents going up. Also because of migration, they don't want this mass criminality rising more and more. You cannot go outside in various areas anymore, especially at some times. You cannot uh, especially if you are a woman. Our government in Berlin, for example, had the brilliant idea to create a wall around a park where a lot of drug dealers are. And this is their solution to fight or a fence, I don't know, something like this. But this is their solution for this crime rate exploding, and people are fed up with it. So I think the other parties don't really have another choice than to be more AfD, to go away where the people also want to go, what the people want to vote, and a policy that the people want. They don't have another choice, because for years they did policy against our own people. They persuaded them, they suppressed their free speech and so on. And those The people are fed up with this, and yeah, if the AfD is getting more and more popular among those voters, they don't have another choice. They tried to forbid the AfD, but I think this is also a waste of time, and this won't work. Yeah, so they don't have another choice.
It seems to me like if you can't beat the AfD, become like an AfD. It's
Yeah,
like you repeat, it's like
yeah.
it's like repeat their talking points so that you gain the sympathy of the
Yeah,
people.
it is really they have been some policies the AfD came up with some years ago, and the exact same ideas were taken from other parties. So yeah, this is completely stupid, but this is what our government does. Don't agree with the AfD, just take the same talking points and bring them in some years later, so nobody reminds them that the AfD has talking about the exact same thing for years now.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to end up this with few observations. It's yes, the criminality rates are becoming higher in Germany. I myself, and I have said this multiple times. I don't leave my apartment without an electric shocker, and if something happens, I want to be ready to defend myself. If somebody has a gun, then I have to be able to defend myself. If somebody doesn't have a gun, then I know very well how to box now, and it's very important to defend yourself as well, because I've been attacked multiple times, and I cannot. One time, were it not for my electric shocker, I would have been hit on my face because of this smear campaign by the German media. I've been attacked multiple times, and people think that I'm, an evil person because of the way they portray you in the media, and they with complete irresponsibility. They don't even take the responsibility for it, and they say, "Oh, we didn't say anything. We didn't tell the people to come and hit you." Right? They just portray you as an evil person, and then if the people see you in the street, the radicals of them, right? They act upon it, and then you have the homelessness, and like every corner of a street you have people sleeping under the bridges, under the buildings, everywhere, especially here in Berlin. It's like crazy, it's booming everywhere. And then the money is going to Ukraine. This is, I think, legitimate questions that the people are asking in this regard, and we don't know how this will end. My personal it's not a wish. I work every day here, and Germany is like a home country to me. They received me during the very difficult times that I was passing through in my country during the war, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that Germany provided to me. I work my ass off every day, and I want to also give something back to this country. And when I criticize a policy of a German government policy, I'm not attacking Germany. I'm criticizing a policy because I see that this policy is harming the people, whether you hold the German nationality or not. I can see that there are people who truly do not care about the German people, and they are in positions of power. And I know how dirty politics is, and how these people can make lots of profits on the expense of the people, unfortunately. And we are seeing now some alternatives coming, whether it's from the AfD or from the Sarah Wagenknecht, who says she's going to also present a new party. So let's see how things will develop. But until then, Miro, thank you very much for joining me on Syriana Analysis. It was really a pleasure. It doesn't seem like you're the dangerous radical person that I shouldn't talk to, according to the some of the articles that I read about you. And hopefully soon we could also meet, and I could invite you also on a beer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and it was also a pleasure for me. And I hope my English wasn't too rusty, because I'm not used to talk in English. But I also, since Elon took over X, I thought about doing some posts in English, because people, I think, are interested in what's going on in Germany. And there is not that much connection from alternative media to the rest of the world, as in other countries. And I think this is something we should push. And so I hope that we could also talk another time about on what's going on here, because I also think there are some elections coming up and so on. So I think, yeah, it will be still is interesting on what's going on here, and how Germany is, I don't know, going off the cliff, or if we are able to save this country. I don't know.
I think Germany could go to the edge, and then they will be able to save themselves. This is how I believe things will develop in Germany. They have to reach to the edge, and then
Yeah, we need
they
the
do
edge.
the yeah they need then they will do the U-turn. This is what I believe. I believe Germany is a great country, and it will stand on its feet again strongly and independently. And Miro, thank you very much again, guys. The link of the Twitter, his Twitter, is in the description below. He is also going to post more in English, so follow him and read his perspective on the German politics and also the migration crisis. And if you want to support my independent work, something like this, there is also, it's written here on the screen. You can become a patron, and we will see you soon, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.